Boys and girls, we got a huge show and we got one half of the main event from BKFC 30 on deck right here. He will be fighting Lorenzo Hunt October 1st for the vacant cruiserweight title, BKFC 205-pound division. Here he is, Quentin Hero Henry. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
There he is, looking dapper as always.
Yeah. I love that hoodie. I love that color scheme.
Appreciate it, man. This is a good hoodie. It's nice and thin, so it's not too hot. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, those are great. I got a couple of them myself. I love them for this time of year, especially out where we are from, at least, where the weather stays right in like the low 60s.
Right? Yeah, we barely get to use them where I'm from.
It
It gets cold for about 2 months, but it's not like icy cold. It's just like wet cold.
Yeah.
Hey, we got the same blinds. Look at how neat, just a different color.
This is actually my Airbnb in
Oh.
Colorado. So
That's right. That's right. You're in Colorado.
that's right.
Oh man, let's talk about this for a second. You are training out in Colorado in high altitude in preparations for your title shot, man. October 1st. You know, a lot of talk about the 205 title has been such a fucking weird situation for about 2 years now, man. Hector Lombard had it. A lot of people didn't believe that he should have been fighting Joe Riggs to begin with. That fight was like kind of like a up in the air thing with the general fan base. Lorenzo jumps in the ring. Everyone thinks that Lorenzo and Hector are fighting for that title. Turns out the day of the fight, they announced that they're fighting for the 85 title. Everyone's like, what the fuck is going on here? He wins that 85 title. Then what's going on with Hector? He goes to Eagle FC. Now it's vacant. Is he going to fight you? Is he going to fight Gustavo? Is he going to fight Mike Richmond? How in the hell did all of this fucking shit show of a mess lead to the fight that everyone was talking about a year ago? Lorenzo Hunt, Quentin Henry for the 205-pound title.
Man, I don't know. It is a very winding road that got us here. Now that you put it all out like that, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I feel like I was pretty adamant about working towards things on my side in order to give it to where at least one, I had some merit to say that I deserved the title. A lot of times it comes down to like the Richmond Lorenzo thing. I think was a it was a social media stunt. It was a cash grab at some views on that. I think at the end of the day, it makes no sense. Besides the fact that they don't like each other, which is cool, whatever. If you want to let them fight. But I was in line for the belt, and that's what was supposed to be happening before he picked a fight with Mike Richmond. So I stated the way I felt about it at the time. Especially when they announced that they were fighting each other. And then, I think once they announced it, prior to them announcing it, it was just Mike's fans that were talking about them wanting the fight. And then once they announced the fight, all my fans were like, wait, hold up. What's going on? Because I guess maybe they didn't think that it was even a possibility. That was just something that they were talking noise about. So I think that kind of swayed opinions on what was going on. And maybe the timeline of, helping get in Louisiana passed and all that other stuff. So, I'm not, I'm a butterfly effect kind of guy. It could have been one little thing that led us to where we are here. And one little thing could have been different and we could be somewhere else. So, but I'm definitely excited about it. I'm just doing my part, the plan's being laid out in front of me and I'm just making sure I'm learning my lines and rehearsing and getting ready for the ball.
Well, I could tell you this, and I know that you were upset because we had Mike Richmond and Lorenzo on, and we were part of that hype train because I'm going to tell you this, as much as okay, before I say all this, would you have been upset if they had you and Gustavo fight for the 205-pound title and Mike and Lorenzo just went and did their thing? Would it make a difference, or did you want Lorenzo and only Lorenzo?
Well, no, I definitely did want Lorenzo, but that's actually what the initial plan was because I accepted the fight at 205 for the belt against Gustavo. And then, or they asked me if I would be interested in that, would I do it? And I was like, hell yeah, it's for the belt. Well, then at that point, I was like, all right, Lorenzo can go do whatever he wants. I can beat him up later. And then, because they offered me the fight with the belt, and that was the first thing I said was, what happened to Lorenzo? Like, what's going on there? Like, because I really wanted to fight him. Like I like the Cuban Assassin. I think he's an awesome fighter. I respect him a lot, but I wouldn't get as much satisfaction, out of fighting him. So, I've got some actual animosity towards getting in there, and not so much that as it's just something that I've looked forward to for so long, because every time I've gotten a fight, I've been like, all right, Lorenzo's next. All right, Lorenzo's next. And that hasn't necessarily been the case, so now, that it was happening to me again. I was at that position where it was like, all right, I'm fighting Lorenzo for the belt. We're finally to the place, where I wanted to be, not necessarily where I thought I would be. And, so then, okay, well, you got the belt, but no Lorenzo. So it was like, it was bittersweet, because in my head, it was me and him fighting for the belt. And that's what we've talked about in the past. So, and for whatever reason, I think, I don't know why the Richmond fight fell through or whatever, but then they hit me back like a week later and they were like, all right, you want, somebody, another fight in your hometown, or do you want to fight for the belt against Lorenzo? And I said, I want to fight for the belt against Lorenzo.
Why would you take anything else?
And Dave was like, all right, that's what I thought you'd say. So, I mean, he didn't know if like I'd rather fight, another fight here in my hometown that would maybe, not be as big of a challenge, because, like it or not, he is the number one guy in the division and he is the toughest fight out there. And, but that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to chew bubble gum. I'm here to whoop some ass. So, and I want to have the good fights. I want to fight the guys that mean something after you beat them up. So, and I was like, you couldn't write that any better.
No, man, your career and his career have you guys have each have one mark on your record. Yours being a legend, Chris Lieben, his being the Gustavo Trujillo fight. I will tell you this, dude. When I was there, when them two confronted each other, and I filmed it and I posted it, and it fucking went crazy viral that night.
Right.
That's why, like, we were like, man, this fight can actually happen. It wasn't a cock block you or Gustavo or anybody like that. It was like hitting while the iron's hot. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that video of them two in that weigh-ins hit 1 million views for us yesterday. So it's like, people are interested. You know what I mean?
I 100% thought that they were going to do it, set the fight up with Trujillo. And like in that case, I wouldn't have been necessarily, and you got to take into account that a lot of the things I say on Instagram or Facebook are in order to garner a reaction out of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that's it, that I'm that fired up about it, so, but, if they would have went with Gustavo, I would have understood but been disappointed. If I would have had to wait and they went with the Richmond fight, I would have been disappointed and pissed because that one really didn't make any sense, because you don't start setting up super fights until you fought everybody in your division, so, but I like Mike Richmond. I'm a fan of his. I like his boxing. I think that would be a cool fight to watch, but after I get my turn, because I'm tired of getting skipped. We ain't doing no upsies up in here.
Well, you're here now, and I'm sure this fight's going to be fucking awesome. There's no doubt about that. There was no shortage of awesome fights that were going to happen at Cruiserweight. It's just like what fight was going to happen and when was it going to happen? Well, it's happening, and it's happening real soon. So,
man, this fight I think is a big fight, but there's there's going to be a lot of good fights on this card, man. I'm telling you, we got two guys that are just bangers, man, in the MMA world in Louisiana, and they both stepped up. They had probably one of the best fights I've ever seen in person. It was a striking match, in an MMA fight last year, I think, and then they're going to have the rematch in bare knuckle, and I'm telling you, that's a fight I'm super excited about. We got some killers here in Louisiana, man, and I've been really, not necessarily surprised, but pleased with the amount of guys that have stepped up. We got a guy named Blake Lacasse. He's been a really good boxer, and he's looking to, he's like 6'7", like 175, I think is what he fights at. There's another guy named Brandon Shavers. He fights out of Global Fitness Center, but he's like from Gina, which is kind of South Louisiana or Central Louisiana. And this dude, I kid you not, is the 165-pound version of John Jones. He's 6'4".
Which name did you say?
Brandon Shavers.
Shavers.
He's 6'4", and he fights at 165.
Yep.
He has the body fat of a toothbrush. And let me tell you, this dude is going to be something else to watch, man. You know, so and I'm on there. You know, obviously it'll be great. So, but man, yeah, there's a lot of local people that are coming in to fight that are going to be, you know, stars, I think, in the sport.
I mean, on top of you and Lorenzo at the top of the card, you guys are welcoming Ben Rothwell to the bare knuckle world against Bobo.
Right.
You know, and Bobo is never in a shitty fight. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
and then you got the rematch of Stevenson and Caleb Harris on there as well. That dude that you were just talking about, how you say his name? Lacraze?
Brandon Blake Lacasse.
Blake Lacasse, he's fighting Noah Cutter too, and that
Right.
last fight, Noah's 1-4 in bare knuckle, but you know what? He hangs in there in some fucking entertaining
Noah's had
fights.
some tough opponents though.
Hell yeah.
And every one of his fights has been a fight. And you know, a lot of them end up getting stopped because I think he bleeds kind of easy. You know, but the dude's got some heart on him in him. You know, Blake's come and trained with me a couple times, you know, getting ready for the fight. You know, and Noah will even tell you, he's like, I'm not the best boxer, because I know Noah. And he was like, but I'm going to fight. You know, he's one of those guys. And
you remember his last one in Wichita against Kenny
Yeah.
Lancia? Man, there was like 5 knockdowns in the first minute and a half
Right.
or 2.5 minutes of the fight. It was like boom, boom. They're both going
Absolutely.
down.
He was winning that fight.
Yeah.
I think going into the second, and then he got clocked.
Right.
I think he had a
I remember
10-7 going into the second round.
I think I was on the Reddit live stream when that was going on. But I was keeping up with the fight. But yeah, he's never in a bad fight. It's always fun to watch.
Now you're out in Denver. You're training hard for this one. Lorenzo Hunt has been basically, you know, the top of the mountain recently. He's where all the spotlight. He makes a lot of noise. He draws a lot of eyes, and Lorenzo's good at selling events, man. He's done a lot of pumping this event up, but you've been relatively quiet, just doing your own Quentin Henry thing. How has the training been? What's it like out in Denver right now? And how excited are you to perform in front of your hometown people?
Man, the training has been great. It's been spot on. Training camp leading into going to the final part of training camp was even great. You know, I had some great sponsors chip in this time. You know, Spartan Adventure Parks, you know, paid for our flights and stuff to get up here. You know, so we're not slumming it while we're up here. So that makes it nice. You know, obviously I'm super excited for this fight. Like I said before, it was like, you know, I've been planning to have this fight for a long time now. And in between I had to take pit stops and fight, you know, Fish, and a pit stop and fight Sorrow, and then a pit stop and fight, you know, DP. And, you know, those I like, you know, and it's always funny because, you know, in God's plan is always different than what our plan is, you know. But, you know, in hindsight, I think just getting those extra fights was just making me more prepared for this one. So, you know, I can see that. I believe that. And I feel like, you know, I'm at the best I've ever been. And I'm just now, you know, hitting Super Saiyan. You know, I still got 2, 3, and 4 left. And so, you know, it's super exciting, you know. And, you know, on the part about me being quiet, I haven't necessarily been, you know, any more quiet than usual. I've had less people ask me to do interviews. It's not like I wouldn't do them if they asked. I just haven't been asked, you know. So that, as far as that goes, I haven't been on the internet trying to, you know, bicker back and forth and blah, blah, blah. I've still been making my same posts that I usually do, you know. And I was doing a podcast the other day, and, you know, the people that tune in to watch me don't tune in to watch me act like a clown. My fans don't need that out of me. You know, what they want to watch the things that I do, you know, and that's what gets put on my social media most of the time. And, you know, I'm not an actor. I'm not an actor. You know, what you see is what you get. And, you know, I wish I was. I'm decent at improv, I guess you could say, you know, like Michael Scott. But, you know, I'm just not interested in it. I know that there were 1 or 2 podcasts that were kind of hitting me up, and they were pestering me about, you know, I say pester me, but they kept wanting me to get on there, and what they kept trying to do was have me and Lorenzo get on there together, And that always ends up being just a holler match, and it just ends up being a cluster. And I don't like doing it. I'll be glad to sit there and talk to somebody and give them my part, whatever that questions they want to ask. But I don't need an opportunity to let everybody know how much smarter I am than Lorenzo Hunt. I know that. I don't have to go out there and prove it to anybody. And so when it comes down to that, that's just something I'd rather not spend my energy on. So oh yeah, I'll do a podcast. Well, what we're thinking was we'll bring you on, and then y'all talk to you, and then we're gonna bring him on. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm cool. I'm not into
I don't want to do that.
any Jerry Springer type setup type of deal. And I know he thrives off that stuff. That's what he lives off of. So they can leave that.
That it's really hard for people like Mike and myself to control something like that. So as podcasters, as I think I can speak for the two of us, we would rather not do that. We made an exception for the Mike Richmond and Lorenzo Hunt thing because it blew up real quick on the internet, and like everyone was talking about it. So we got them on. But like for the most part, that's murky waters that us as podcasters don't really even want to get into. So I don't know why people.
Well, man, let me tell you, there's some of them out there that are all about that life.
Oh yeah,
and I ain't. I'm about real life. I ain't trying to set up no Jerry Springer, fake situations.
That's the thing. Like you kind of just want people to just naturally have like, a natural response. But if you try to push it, it doesn't work like you think it's going to. And sometimes it can become a disaster. Like Kyle said, you can't control people talking over one another. Nobody's paying attention. It becomes like, what are we doing right now? I don't know where we're going with this. Yeah, it can be messy.
It's a waste of my time. I got a lot of stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like when I'm on these trips out here in Colorado, I got all the time in the world to sit here and do podcasts or whatever. That's not that big of a deal. But when I'm back home, let me tell you, I ain't got a minute. I ain't got time to, I couldn't squeeze a, polished pellet through a bird's ass in the little amount of time I got. It's like, we're just running backwards and forwards. And, I got 3 kids. I'm doing, I help out with the youth group at church, and then I'm doing this and that. And on top of work and running the gym, I ain't got time to be sitting around, entertaining some clown. It just don't interest me. I got better things to do.
You've been doing that at the church for a while. So you got like the 6th graders or something, the 6th grade guys. Or...
Yeah, I'm the 6th grade boys associate. It's me and another guy, but yeah, I'm the youth group leader for the 6th grade boys.
What were you guys doing? Playing a game? Did you have like Post-its on your head? Were you like playing?
No, I made them do that so I could remember their names. I was like, write your name on this Post-it note and stick it on your forehead. They were like, what? I'm like, just do it. I gotta learn y'all's name. It's my worst thing, man.
Like this giant dude with a mullet is telling us to put a goddamn Post-it on our phone.
Yeah.
We better listen.
Yeah, do as I say. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this, and I know Mike has a few things to say about this too. Do you pay attention to all the media that Lorenzo does leading up to this? Like you just talked about, you were turning down podcasts because you don't want to get into that bullshit. But like Lorenzo, we had him on last week, and he was on for like an hour with us, and he had a ton of things to say and a lot of quotable shit. And he's almost like a Chael Sonnen type, where like a lot of his stuff is very quotable. I don't know if he like thinks about it before he comes on these shows, or he's just really good at
simple. It's easy to quote simple quotes. If his vocabulary was too expansive, you wouldn't be able to keep up with it. Why can't you quote me? Because you got to read it higher than a 5th grade level to comprehend and repeat what I said. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
So they don't none of the shit he said, none of the stuff he says, none of the shows he goes on to, you don't watch them and you don't really pay attention to that stuff.
Absolutely not. I see. Even not just with him though. Like I just don't watch them. I don't watch my opponent's podcast, and and I mean a lot of it is just hyping up the fight and whatever, and you don't know what's genuine and what's not. And when I am watching things like that, I watch it as a fan. I'm not watching it with the idea of, oh yeah, he's really talking about my mom. I'm more watching it like, okay, this dude's really trying to sell this. Maybe he's for real. Like I think he kind of is. I think part of him is like that's kind of how his that he tries to be Conor McGregor, like where he's getting into your head and making you so mad that you can't do anything. And I can understand that, from one perspective or depending on who you are. But I'm not that guy. That's not something that's going to get to me. I've got a lot of other things going on in my life, and I'm not sitting there stressing about what Lorenzo Hunt's doing, or any of that stuff. And most of it's nonsense anyway. I have people kind of tell me things like, "Oh, did you see this? You said," I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." Good for him. Um, but I'm focused on winning. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. And he seems to have a whole lot of attention on me. And if that's the way he wants to do things, then that's fine. But I'm on my grind. I'm on what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm working out. I'm training. I'm getting ready for a fight. I'm willing to promote the fight. One of his friends was messaging me saying how I wasn't working to promote this fight, and it was just because I didn't want to do the whole "let's fight over the internet" type of thing. And I'm like, I've sold out the building, like the whole building. Like they came out with, we have X amount of tables. How many do you want? I said all of them, and I need about 18 more. And then, we've got tickets that we're selling out. It's like, I've done my part. I'm selling the show.
Nice.
I'm the one working. I've been going to football games and doing stuff like that. But my main job is to win and to go out there and win impressively. And that's what I plan on doing. And, I've never had this opportunity before, as far as getting to fight for a championship. And I'm not going to let anything get in the way of saying I didn't do it the right way or did everything I could to get it. So, man, yeah, I'm just stoked about it all the way around.
Wow. So, well, that's awesome that you sold all those tickets, because that's going to be really, really, really fun when you walk out there and that crowd explodes when you have your walkout. Like you probably have a great song picked out. I can just imagine that place is going to pop.
Same song as always.
Okay. Hey, there's two ways. There's people that pick different songs every time, and then
it's When the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash.
Well, that works too, though, because anytime like say Daniel Cormier, right?
Right.
When he comes out, every time, same song, same thing. Like Anderson Silva does the same thing. Like
right.
You just know those people come out and you just know their songs, and that's their song.
You got to find something that pumps you up. That's one that I relate to well.
So when we talked to Lorenzo last week, and I'm going to ask you, give us a prediction for the fight. How do you think it's going to go down? But when we asked Lorenzo, he said it's going to be a nasty, nasty, nasty KO. Quentin will set the pace. He'll set the way the fight goes. I will beat him when he wears down and tries to bully me. I'll beat him if he tries to grab me. I'll beat him if he tries to stay away from me. I'll just beat him at the things he thinks he's good at. And then the fight's over. That's what he said when we asked him.
Hey, pretty good game plan, I guess. Hey, just beat him everywhere he thinks he can beat you. Okay. Man, he must have used a half a box of crayons to come up with that one. Man, that's just one of those things that lets you know he's living in a false reality, because this is a fight. And, you got a chance of getting caught in something crazy going on with a random person, let alone somebody who's a trained fighter. And, he would be just as crazy to look at how I fight and the things that I've done and to just dismiss me like I'm some kind of bum, just the same that I would be, I would be a fool to do the same to him, but that's where you start getting into the psychology of people like this, and he's just built everything about his life and his identity is the fact that he's a fighter, he's a champion, and, ain't no champ till I say so, blah, blah, blah. And so, he's got his little catchphrases and stuff like that, but that's not what wins fights, and you start believing your own legend and you start realizing that it's just a fairy tale. And, I'm the Cinderella man. I'm coming through to crash through on that shit.
I can tell you this before we let you go. I truly believe you.
Look at the game, Kyle.
I know. We're gonna do that. We're gonna play a quick game with you because this is a fun one. We came up with a good one for Quentin Henry specifically.
Nice.
But dude, listen to this. I really do believe that Lorenzo got in the head of Hector. I believe that he got in the head of Joe Riggs. When you say in the most calmest goddamn way possible that none of this shit bothers you. I truly believe it. So I think this time, his last 2 fights, he had won the fight before he even got in there. And it's no offense to Joe Riggs or Hector Lombard, but I really think he did Conor McGregor mind fuck these dudes before they even got in the ring. And I really do believe
I mean,
when you
I
say
feel,
that this is not happening.
And it's not so much as to how it affects his opponent as it's how much confidence he gives him to know that it's affecting him. And when you can tell that he feeds off of that, and I don't know if he was really in Hector's head as much as it was like that was just a terrible matchup for Hector. Hector shouldn't be fighting at 205 pounds. He's 5'8", and Hector did all that he could in that fight. But it just, like I said, it was a terrible matchup for him. So but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are like that. They got to believe they're on fairy tale. I think the biggest advantage that I have over every other people is that I see my faults and I accept them, and then I know where to work on them. And if you walk around and you think you're everywhere's perfect, you're better than me here, you're better than me there, then how hard are you going to work to improve? And that's what I want to see, because I know it's not as hard as I'm working to make sure you're not. And, that's what I'm doing every day. And, so we'll see. We get to find out. That's what's so great about this sport, is that we get to find out. We can answer all those questions, and I'm ready for the test. I promise you,
dude.
I'm excited to see too. Maybe he will do that, and maybe he's got something that I don't know about. But maybe I can learn something. But we'll see. We'll see.
It's
that's
an
what
incredible.
The dance is for.
It's an incredible matchup of opposite end of the personality spectrum, people that are both equally as skilled as each other in their weight class. So it's fantastic.
Not really. Almost.
I mean, you guys are 1 and 2. Okay, give me a break. You guys are 1 and 2.
October 1st.
All right.
You can keep saying that until October 1st.
All right, man. Hey, before we let you go, we got a fun game we're gonna play with you. It's called Hero or Zero with Quentin Hero Henry.
Nice.
It's as simple as this. We're going to give you somebody. You got to tell me if they're a hero or a zero. All right. Here we go.
All right.
Number 1, Pee Wee Herman.
0. Oh, man.
Mike.
Oh, Alex Jones.
Hero. That dude stands for what he believes in. He's got some crazy shit. Have y'all watched him on Joe Rogan? He's so funny.
Yes.
Number 3.
I'm kind of retarded. Oh, man. He's hero. He used to be one of my heroes. I've lost a lot of faith in him morally, but he's a hero, man. He's done what he said he was going to do, and to hell with everybody else, which is what he said 1,000 times. So, cheers to him.
I agree with this. Mike.
Brett Favre.
Hero. Brett Favre. What?
Do you know about this whole welfare scam that he's doing?
What? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Oh,
I just watched him. I just like him. I had his jersey when I was a kid. It's really
I know. I'm just fucking with you. But he really is involved in some sort of like welfare scam right now, where he like burned the welfare system. Scam. Yeah. Google it. I don't know the exact story, but he might have been a hero that may have been he might be leaning towards the zero realm.
Okay, well, the jury's still out apparently. So, but as far as his football career, he was one of my heroes.
Okay, here we go. LeBron James.
Man, I'm not a LeBron James guy, I would say, but he's one of those too. It's kind of hard to deny that he is that skilled, but I don't really like his antics outside, but like he like supports China and all the crazy stuff that they're doing. But besides that, the man is in his own league when it comes to being a basketball player. So I can't say anything about that. Like the dude he's unreal.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
There you go. Go ahead.
All right. Miley Cyrus, The Party in the USA.
Okay, look, hey, if we're gonna take out her trashiness, which that's okay. Look, I come from white trash. It just runs deep in my blood. I understand it, but if we take away that part and some of the things that she did, she has a beautiful voice and she is extremally talented. So, I think she's kind of straightened up. She's come away from her Hannah Montana days. It got to be hard to be, achy breaky heart's daughter.
So she's a hero?
Oh, yeah, hero. We'll pull her through.
Vince McMahon.
Hero, yes.
Too easy.
Oh, too easy. He's so awesome.
Mike.
John Jones.
Again, he's a hero, man. He's had his battles on the outside, but as far as what he does for as an athlete and what he's been doing. I'm super excited about him coming back to heavyweight. But it's hard you can't argue that he's not the greatest fighter of all time. So yeah, he's a hero.
And the last one, it's fresh on everybody's mind. Queen Elizabeth.
Man, I'm not really up to date on that, but I would probably say there's more people that would say she's a hero, but I'm probably going to lean that she's a zero because they probably did a lot of bad things too. And I don't know about all that, but
I think, oh yeah, I think she might have done a lot of bad things.
Right?
I love it, man.
Yeah,
I love
ain't gonna
it.
have people from the Crown, faking my suicide. Any of that.
There's so many wild opinions about that lady right there, man. We love it. Quentin Hero Henry is the overseer of who's a hero and who's not in this world, and we gave him that opportunity tonight, October 1st, Monroe, Louisiana. He is fighting Lorenzo Hunt for the vacant 205-pound cruiserweight title in the BKFC. Huge fight, long time in the making. Everybody's excited for it. Quentin, take a second, say some last words, and let you go.
Man, look, I'm just super excited about this fight coming out October 1st. I think this, like you said, this is a fight that's been in the making for a long time now. Me and Lorenzo have made our way to the top. There's no more running. I've been trying to fight him for years, and now we're about to pop this zit. What we're talking about. We've just been waiting for that thing underground for a little too long now. And it's going to be fireworks. I promise you, it's going to happen. When two guys like us get in there, somebody's going down, somebody's getting hurt. And, I think the odds are more than slightly in my favor.
It's going to be fireworks October 1st. If you guys have not gotten the app, if you're watching this show, you probably have the app. But if you're tuning in, down at the bottom, referral code, referral.bareknuckle.tv/Quentin. Get the app through his referral code there. Help the man out and tune in on October 1st. Thank you very much, Quentin. It's a pleasure talking to you as always. And best of luck on October 1st. All right, brother.
Awesome, man. Take it easy.
Later.